So as you all know, Minions is a prequel slash spin-off to the Despicable Me films about the Minions, and it's basically 42 years before the first Despicable Me film, and they're basically on their journey to find a supervillain that they can save. Now admittedly, I've only seen the first Despicable Me film and I found it to be ridiculously hilarious. It really was. It caught me by surprise, the first one, I will say. But number 2 I have not seen for no reason whatsoever. And so none of that's really important because this is a prequel, obviously. You don't need to have seen number 2 to watch the one that takes place 40 years before it, so let's do this. Now when I first heard they were making a Minions film, I thought one thing, and that is cash grab. Because the brutal reality is this film could be disgracefully horrible. This film could be terrible, the worst kids film ever made, but Universal would make absolutely millions upon millions of dollars from the merchandise. Could potential failsafe if the film happens to be horrible. But thankfully, in my personal thoughts, this is not a horrible film. It's actually pretty decent. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am not in the target demographic for this film whatsoever. This film is aimed for children. Children strictly. And you can tell because some of the jokes are just really cheap, like, oh, kids are gonna laugh because burp, and all that stuff, and banana, and you know, all that stuff. So it's definitely aimed to children, not adults. Anyone over the age of 12 will probably just go, what is this film? It's just too silly for me. But the fact is, when I watched this film today, the cinema had quite a lot of children in it, and the film was going on, and the kids were laughing. They were laughing quite hard sometimes, and even some of the adults were laughing as well, which I found quite surprising. So yeah, it's a funny film. This film does have a couple of funny moments, and was I laughing? I will say, yeah, I did laugh quite a few times in this film. More chuckles than laughs for sure, obviously, because I'm out of the demographic, but I still laughed in this film sometimes. And the children that were in the cinema when I was watching it were laughing, so therefore the film did its job. Don't get me wrong, is it the best kids film ever? No, of course not. Is it the best kids film of the year so far? Well, since this is only the second kids film I've seen this year, well, yeah, best of the year so far for me. I haven't seen Inside Out yet. I know it's going to be a lot better than this. But yeah, it's for me, right now, best kids film of the year so far out of the 2 that I've seen. But apart from that, the CGI was actually pretty decent in this film, and the voice work was pretty top notch as well. I mean, Sandra Bullock plays the Scarlet Overkill, the big supervillain that the Minions are trying to work for. She did a really good job in this film. Michael Keaton plays this really over-eccentric dad. It's pretty much a cameo role for Michael Keaton in this film, but when he was there, he was pretty funny actually. Pretty over the top, but still funny. On that note, I do wish the family from the trailer, you remember the ones who Minions take the ride to Orlando with? I wish they were in the film more. They're in the film for that bit, which is actually pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. And then they have like 1 or 2 other appearances throughout the film, and they're not in it that much. I just wish the family was in the film more. They're actually pretty funny. So in the end, Minions, like I said, this film just does its job well. It makes kids laugh. The film's a win. The film's a success. It's not horrible. It's not a terrible film, but it's not a particularly great film, but it's still a good film. I mean, I found it quite funny. If you're a kid, first of all, number 1, hey, how you doing? Please subscribe. And number 2, go watch this film. You'll be entertained. So in the end, I'm going to give Minions a 3 out of 5. So have you seen Minions? What are your thoughts about it? Whatever your thoughts are, tell me down there. And if you like this stuff, you want to see more of my stuff, be sure to subscribe. So I got stuff coming to you guys all the time.